Wide shots of South Africa's diverse landscapes, mineral-rich mountains, bustling cities, and vast farmland. South Africa is blessed with some of the richest natural resources in the world: gold, diamonds, platinum, and vast mineral deposits. But despite this wealth, South Africa has long relied on Europe for technology, investment, and support. The roots of this dependency go deep, intertwined with the legacy of apartheid, colonialism, and the struggle for independence. Today, we explore why South Africa, with all its resources, has been economically reliant on Europe and how the end of apartheid changed the landscape. Cut to scenes of miners working in gold and diamond mines, then transition to Johannesburg's cityscape. South Africa's story begins with its resources. The discovery of diamonds in 1867 and gold in 1886 triggered a rush of European interest and investment. British and European companies quickly established control over South Africa's mines, creating immense wealth that largely flowed back to Europe. This pattern of extraction and export laid the foundation for the country's economic dependency. Cut to archival footage of colonial South Africa, European leaders, mining operations, and indigenous people. Colonial rule reinforced this economic structure. European powers controlled South Africa's land and resources, and the indigenous population had little say in how resources were managed or profits distributed. This unequal system set the stage for what would later become one of the darkest chapters in South African history: apartheid. Transition to scenes from apartheid-era South Africa: separate public facilities, protests, and military presence. In 1948, the apartheid regime was formally established, enforcing a brutal system of racial segregation and economic discrimination. Under apartheid, white South Africans, descendants of European settlers, maintained control over land, resources, and political power, while black South Africans faced oppression, limited access to education, and restricted economic opportunities. This system kept wealth and resources in the hands of a few and perpetuated reliance on European investment and markets. Cut to scenes of international sanctions, protests, and leaders like Nelson Mandela. The apartheid era saw global condemnation, with many European countries imposing sanctions and divestments as pressure against the regime mounted. These sanctions isolated South Africa from much of the world and strained its economy. But European-owned companies continued to benefit from South African resources, and South Africa's economy remained tied to Europe despite the political divide. Scene of apartheid ending: Nelson Mandela's release, celebrations, and the 1994 democratic elections. In 1994, apartheid officially ended with the election of Nelson Mandela, ushering in a new era of democracy and hope. The world celebrated South Africa's freedom, and global investment, including from Europe, poured into the country to support rebuilding efforts. South Africa aimed to transform its economy, create equal opportunities, and harness its resources for the benefit of all citizens. Cut to scenes of post-apartheid development projects, infrastructure, and mining operations. However, the legacy of apartheid and the dependency on Europe persisted. Many of the major mining companies were still European-owned, and the advanced technology required for mining, refining, and industrial growth often had to be imported from Europe. For South Africa, diversifying its economy and breaking free from this dependency remained a complex challenge. Scene transition to current-day South Africa, showing inequality in urban and rural areas. Today, South Africa continues to grapple with economic inequality and reliance on foreign investment. While the country exports minerals, it imports most of its finished goods, and European companies still dominate several industries. South Africa's economy relies on European markets for exports, which makes it vulnerable to fluctuations in demand from overseas. Scene of South African entrepreneurs, scientists, and local manufacturing initiatives. Yet, there is hope for transformation. South Africa is investing in local manufacturing, renewable energy, and entrepreneurship, focusing on developing skills within the country. Industries like tech, tourism, and agriculture are emerging as alternatives, offering South Africans more ways to benefit directly from their resources without relying on foreign support. Cut to interviews with South African entrepreneurs and community leaders. We're working to create industries here that benefit our communities directly. We have the resources, we have the skills. Now we need the infrastructure and support to break this cycle of dependency. The South African government has also been taking steps to reclaim economic control. Policies aimed at redistributing wealth, supporting black-owned businesses, and encouraging local industries reflect a new vision for an economically self-sufficient South Africa. Final montage of South Africa's beauty, including communities, wildlife, technology hubs, and local businesses. South Africa's journey from colonial rule to apartheid and finally to democracy has been marked by resilience and struggle. The country's reliance on Europe, built over centuries, won't disappear overnight. But with each step toward economic independence, South Africans are reclaiming their right to shape their future. The dream of a self-sufficient South Africa is still alive, and the end of apartheid is just the beginning. If you like this video, please subscribe for more.